Hello, welcome to Northwest Connection. My name's Trelf.
My name's Seb.
And today we're bringing you something a little bit psychedelic, a little bit groovy, with a little bit of soul, because we're joined by Little Strange, one of Manchester's most exciting underground bands. Thanks for coming down, guys.
Thank you. How you doing? Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Go for it, All right, I'll go first then. So I'm Ollie, and I'm the lead guitarist.
I'm Jamie, and I'm the singer.
And you're usually a four-piece, is it? Or
We are, yeah.
who are we missing today?
Yeah, the other two are in jail now. We're missing Jack and
That's
Charlie. Fly tipping.
Yeah.
Fly tipping.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're aside of being a rock and roll band, we do
Fly tipping
love
as
fly
well.
tipping.
It's going to be my second choice, not going to lie.
Yeah, you've got to have a release, haven't you, man? Aside of the music, and fly tipping does bring a lot of release for me, especially.
Yeah, so Jack on the bass, Charlie on the drums.
Thanks for that, Ollie.
No worries. Clearing things up for
Yeah,
everybody.
sorry, I'm not going to be a problem.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm not
Don't
gonna
ask
be a
too many
problem,
questions on the
yeah.
fly tip, and it's a sore subject, isn't it? So.
And how did Little Strange come together?
Yeah, so Little Strange formed out of a previous project. If you could cast your minds back to 2018,
The heady days of 2018.
pre-pandemic. Just gonna get that in there. If you can imagine what that's like, and that kind of went on completely different lineup. I was in it, and
I joined on keys at one point.
yeah, in 2019, as did Jack, and we just kind of went through a lineup change, and then we went full circle. We went full Sugar Babes, and everyone got replaced aside of myself. So I'm next to go.
Already got plans in the
Panic
works
at
for
the
that.
disco.
Yeah, it's panicking somewhere, mate. Panicking
Fly
Jimmy's, I
tipping.
think. Fly tipping.
Yeah.
Got rid of the other one. Got rid of them. Fly tipping again.
Yeah.
No one's found those lads since. Don't tell anyone. But yeah, so we were
Joking aside, yeah.
fly tipping aside.
Can I just say this is ADHD? This is what it's like.
I'm fly tipping. Yeah, we were a lineup and we existed for a time, 2018 to 2020, up until the pandemic. Obviously, I had that time out, and then basically reconfigured with a new lineup, and then 2023 dropped down to being a four-piece, and then that was kind of really where we began to take flight in what we're doing now. So it's a long-winded way of getting to where we needed to go.
But it sort of
Yeah.
we took the time, took a lot of thinking,
Yeah.
looking at things, almost a bit of a
Natural.
rebrand,
Yeah.
configuration.
Were you trying
just
to be something specific? Is that why there ended up being a rebrand? Because I feel like rebrands are always at a time where it's like, yeah, let's just do this, and then it ends up being like, well, do we want to do that actually?
I
Because it's
think
never
in the
really-
case of Little Strange, because we started and it was my first band, so usually like, musicians will have projects
Yeah.
before that lead into what they really want to do. And it was like when I started, I got into it a bit late. It was like 2021. It's like later than your average musician, so I was still kind of working myself out. And obviously, like 8 years have gone since, and you grow, you evolve, and you like different things. So I think we did go through. We just had to go along that road, the long and windy road, and kind of end up where we are now. But without that time, I don't think we would have got to where we are now.
So was it a total different sound when you started out to what it is now?
Yeah, it was very jangly. Then we got lumbered with the Psych band label,
Right. Okay.
which is a good one, especially in Manchester.
Right.
I say that with
Sarcasm.
sarcasm.
Yeah.
I read the sarcasm. I'm just letting you
Oh,
continue.
yeah. Just sad. That's
he always looks this serious. So.
And so we were like dubbed as a psych band for a while. I was
It's a
like,
weird one getting the psych thing because
Alright, fair enough.
Where do I sit within that?
Yeah.
What does that
Yeah.
mean?
I think it's kind of
Yeah.
one of those things, isn't it? It's like we were sort of talking earlier, wasn't it? Like when you struggle to align with something because you're doing something different, you kind of just get put in with a bit of a label on yourself, even though you're not necessarily doing.
We're
I think
niche, but we don't understand
that's
what niche you are.
yeah,
And
we kind of. Like,
that's it.
They've got to be psych then, haven't they?
That's
Alt.
it.
Yeah. Alt.
But I think
yeah.
I think
Prog,
psych
you
is
know.
very different to what when you think of psychedelic, the '60s. You think of that. I think psych now is very different to what probably was then. So I
Yeah.
think it's just one of those you don't know. You've got a niche, so people don't know where to align you. So you kind
Yeah.
of okay, right, psych band, because they're not doing the post-punk thing, or they're not doing this, so probably a psych band. It's one of them a little bit, I think, innit?
Yeah, so we were that, and then we were like, after the pandemic and stuff, we were just like, give us so much time to just think about what
you
is
actually
this?
wanted.
What is this project that we've all worked so hard on? We released a string of singles up to that point, but nothing, never had any traction or anything. Played a few gigs, and it just seemed like at the time, just as things were starting to pick up a little bit, it was like bang, pandemic.
COVID hit.
Yeah,
It's
and
mentioned
then
every episode.
and every band felt, most bands like tailed off, they give it up, or they went and did new things, and it was just a chance for us to just assess what we wanted from the project. And in my mind, it was like, right, we've just been through hell, so I can't allow this project to slip through my fingers. So that's where the new members, like Ollie was already in the band, Jack was already in the band. Ollie's actually playing keys. We had him as like a one-man band setup.
So you imagine those musicians that walk around, they've got the bass drums on their back, they've got harmonica, playing guitar, stamping around with cymbals. That was basically me.
You had a Steinway.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I wish. But that was me taking up a stage with, we had
keys.
There was 6 of us, wasn't there, at the time? But,
like keys, harmonica, acoustic. It was it's like Cool and the Gang. For a point, that was weird. So yeah,
niche reference as well.
I don't think it's been mentioned before.
I'm here for it. But
that's fly tipping Cool and the Gang.
Yeah, you do well.
5 minutes.
there's the sound bites for you there.
We're off.
So Harry Mack, that freestyle rapper, always asks for like 3 words.
Right.
You'd be great with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect those niche sort
No,
of 3.
yeah, you would just get dribble.
Just
get dribble. So yeah, we existed. Yeah, and then the pre-pandemic, we just assessed everything as it was. Obviously, grown as people, it just made us reconfigure what we wanted, and then we just moved forward. And there's been a few lineup changes since that. But
were you always called Little Strange, or is that?
So this was this came into play. 2018.
Right. Where did that name come from?
So we
Doors.
were.
It's got to be a Doors reference.
No,
sort of
it wasn't. It wasn't. Believe it or not, it was. So we were called before that. The previous project was called Messengers, but it was around the time that film La La Land hit. But the band in La La Land, the jazz band, is called The Messengers.
Right.
Or something like that. But they became a touring band. And there was also a metal band called The Messengers in the US that were very successful. So we thought, we're fucked here, we can't do this. So we played one gig down the Eagle. Got Ryan Gosling banging on the door, what royalties? What are you doing here, Ryan?
Come in.
Come in. Put us on your story. So we made a change from there, but it's quite a boring story. We just had a short list of names, and it just kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter till.
I had to pick a good band name.
I know.
They come across so easily cheesy at points, don't they?
Yeah, and so everyone goes on Spotify, checks if not been.
Yeah.
We did the Spotify search.
Yeah.
So there's Little Stranger, who are a rap duo from the US. Shout out to them if they're listening.
Yeah, they subscribe them. Yeah.
That was kind of about it, really, wasn't it? With that, so I think we were pretty.
So it worked.
Good with,
Yeah.
And I feel like it really does, like in a strange sort of way, if you pardon the pun. It does communicate. I think what we do really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like
We are strange.
I think it's like you could definitely give off like an eclectic mix of sounds from.
I think
stuff
it's definitely like from especially the new stuff we're kind of recording and writing at the moment, and the song we just released, Bad Days, as well. That's how I find, you start to create a little bit of your own sort of unique sound, dare I say it. You start to bring all these little influences. I mean, the 4 of us in the band have really got such different influences, haven't we? Charlie, our drummer, he loves like a lot of the 80s stuff, so he brings that to the party.
Probably like new wave.
Yeah. Jack
Cure Smiths.
Jack massively loves the bass player. Massively loves his like heavier music. Both of us kind of share a lot of influences, don't we? But it's bringing a lot of my kind of like blues background, stuff like that. The Beatles, Stones, and same for yourself.
Yeah, mutual love of those bands. But I kind of grew up with, Dad's a bit of a mod, so I always grew up with that Paul Weller, Oasis, Beatles influence, but my mum's into Northern Soul. But
Right
collectively,
mix in there.
collectively they really like a lot of music. So like funk was always played in the house, like Shaka Khan and Angie Stone, people like that. But when I was growing up as a kid, on MTV, like music channels that was the thing. So I grew up at a time where like R&B was like central to pop music. So like even daft stuff, you're like, yeah, but I remember this tune from 25 years ago, and it's still a banger though, you know.
Yeah.
So we've got a
You know, we sort of just throw that then all together, don't we?
Yeah.
And what kind of results at the end of that is
little strange.
kind of a little strange, especially with the new stuff now,
Yeah.
aren't we? And
Yeah.
I mean, we started using drum machines for the first time.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that's
What drum machines?
I've got a little, it's a Behringer, I think it's an RD6. It's just based off one of the ones from the 80s. But it's a really
they've done that
simple.
Behringer, haven't they? They've
Yeah,
brought
yeah,
a-
really. Yeah, they're
like,
doing like
rehashed a load
reissues
of-
of
yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they've done like a Lindrum version of one as well. But yeah, we started just kind of really opening our minds to different influences now, and hopefully
It's the way you
trying to
grow,
find
you know,
something.
yeah. There'll be failures through that you'll find stuff and you'll be like, God, that just doesn't work. But that's literally how you
Yeah.
grow.
Yeah,
You've got to
yeah.
find stuff that you be like. I say this to the band as well. Chuck as much shit at a wall, some of it'll stick.
Yeah.
Pretty much is the analogy for it.
Otherwise, you just end up strumming the same chords and the same.
Well, you do, don't
the
you? I
same
mean, you
tempo
know,
and-
Yeah.
indie music.
Yes.
It ends up,
The pork pies.
yeah,
This town has got you down. Big things coming soon.
it's our favourite thing.
So
That
that
is
is
our
that's an
favourite.
in-joke in the bands that bands.
So what's the musical backgrounds of you two guys? You can comment for the other guys as well if you want to. You just want to
Yeah.
make some stories up about
You're a
yourself.
proper musician, so you
Oh.
can talk away.
Well, so I'm originally from Essex, if you didn't tell from my accent. And no, I don't have
Fraud!
tan.
I
So
thought he was from Bury.
yeah, it's far away enough, isn't it? But yeah, so I'm from Essex originally. I spent a lot of my teenage years just playing around Essex Southend music scene. That was where I really kind of cut my teeth to, playing live. And then I moved up to Manchester 2018 and studied at the Royal Northern College of Music on the pop course there, electric guitar.
Nice.
But I play guitar, harmonica, bass, keys. I also produce all the little strange tracks as well. I've just set up
Right.
a studio, so we record all in house, isn't it? So and
That's really good.
Cool.
and that's and then music wise, I was brought up on the Stones, the Beatles, a lot of the old Delta blues stuff as well. That surprisingly, that stuff, there's a big scene for that in Essex. So there was a
Right,
lot of
yeah.
gigs I used to
I
go
would
to,
never
it was like
expected
real,
that.
like Delta blues stuff, and there's a real big love for it down there, which I was quite surprised as I kind of got into the music scene there. That there's loads of love for the blues down there and stuff. So so I got a lot of kind of education off that stuff, like
Yeah.
real roots music, and then like to the early cuts of like Bob Dylan and stuff like that. So I had a real rounded sort of experience. But yeah, so
What did you take from the Royal Northern College music? What was the things you found from that? Because I know being institutionalized in something.
yeah,
that's
it's
creative.
it's an interesting one. So one of the positives I really take from it was I was put in Manchester, and it gave me the ability to do almost music full time. Obviously, like you're a student, you're not necessarily. I got a chance to meet kind of different people, different backgrounds. So you start to pick up little bits and bobs. But then I also learnt a lot of stuff from that, of kind of the things I wouldn't want to do.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Full spectrum.
Yeah, I think I didn't necessarily have the greatest experience, or because in the middle of it, my second and third years was COVID, so I was just in my room doing computer learning. So it's one of them. Nobody could have prepared for that, and unfortunately, it just landed at a bad time for me. But
What a beautiful place.
well,
as well
yeah,
to-
that's
to
it.
know.
That is it. So they're pretty spectacular places to play in and things. But
Yeah.
it's just a good experience, just kind of being in there, almost just thinking about music 24/7. It really kind of,
It's a big perspective change when you.
I think
consumed
so.
by it.
And do you know what? I think like since I've come out of there now, I graduated. I think it's 2 or 3 years ago now. But since I've been out of it and just kind of doing music myself, I think particularly in the last 6-7 months or so, I've just had a lot of time just sitting really thinking about it. And I mean, even sitting down practicing the piano more, stuff like that. Just really thinking about what I want to do and where I want to take it, what my, the sounds are like, and trying to introduce myself to new sounds. Even like, I've been going down the route listening to like Mark Ronson pop tunes, which if you go back a year ago, I definitely would not have been doing that. I'd be going, no, it's terrible pop music. And listening even like Sabrina Carpenter, stuff like that, but really delving into the production side of it. And to be fair, there's a lot of interesting stuff in pop music at the moment, there really is. Yeah. So I think to kind of discard it, and I think that's been a big change in my kind of outlook, has been like, because like a year ago, I would have just discarded it, not really been interested, like, oh, it's not Stones, is it? And I think you can very easily do that, but I think I've been trying to push myself out that comfort zone, which is what we've been doing with the new music, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Referencing Sabrina Carpenter drum tones, Billie Eilish, Post Malone. There's some bangers out there.
Yeah, production's really stepped up, hasn't it? In pop music, it's like
so many.
The amount of difference of instruments, or even like little samples that people are using now compared to what the. I feel like modern songs are so layered, so production heavy now.
Yeah.
No wonder they need about 15 of them on stage when they go around the world. It's
and
insane.
track as well.
Yeah. That's it. It's insane. Yeah.
How would you describe a little strange sound to someone who hasn't heard you before?
Strange.
I almost thought that was coming.
I know it's a cop-out answer, but it is, because you can't quite.
Gives a colour.
This confused the last band.
I love this one.
I think I'd give 3 colours.
Mm.
I'd go blue, red, and black.
I would also say
3 colour palette. There you go.
Yeah, like the Jack White special, that one, isn't it? So
yeah, it's strange because you can't quite put your finger on it.
Not defined.
Because you can hear so many different elements that you would assign to different genres, but then I don't think we're genre specific, so you can just say
that was going to be my little tangent, really. How do you find the whole? Because I feel like more than ever now, the current sort of zeitgeist is you are defined by your genre. It used to be back in the day that people naturally filtered between a rock band from the 70s. It was modern pop for them.
Yeah,
true.
It wasn't defined as like they were a proper rock band, because what was pop back then? Yeah, there was elements of pop, but it was very much.
You think of the blues as a great example. That was just made that title and given to that style of music to sell it to white audiences. It's American. It's American folk music. Roots music is what it really is. But they called it the blues to sell it to a white audience. So that's when. That's when genre becomes an interesting thing, really, isn't it?
And I think it's some of it could even be regional now.
Yeah,
definitely.
You get like a bit of a Manchester sound about you. You even said the mod version of it before. The amount of times you get defined by your genre now.
And I think we're trying not to do that, aren't we? Really, but we're just trying to make our. As daft as it sounds, just trying to make our music and just.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The old saying about that is that you should only. I'm going to butcher it, but it's basically on the version of, if you don't listen to your own style of music that you make, then how can you ever like your own music? Pretty much something like that. Yeah. It's like if you're in a rock band and you don't listen to rock music and you don't like the stuff that you play. Yeah, what's the fucking point?
You're not going to get the authenticity sort of in there. I know that's a big word, authenticity, but it's
I can't spell it.
But it's one of them, brings a lot of questions in, doesn't it?
We're finding with our newer stuff, we're having to kind of coin different terms to kind of explain it, because it is a real amalgamation of different tones and textures. And like from where we're sat, we're going, we're bringing in different influences. You try put that on a page to someone, and you go, well, this sounds like Link Ray, but it sounds like a modern pop song as well. And it's like, you can't define that in a genre. So what we're saying is, at the minute, our sound is like cine rock, because it could align to a film soundtrack, because we're trying to put a marriage between sound and image.
The new single is a bit like that, because it starts off with keys as well, doesn't it?
It's eerie.
And it is quite eerie. It does feel like you can see it more so than probably set up. I hate to say other songs, but
when people can it's a tough sell, because if you say, you know, aside of like really defined genres, Britpop, for example, it's a hard sell to just go, we're an alternative rock band, because that spectrum is so wide.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
It could be anything from, you know, the Foo Fighters to the Black Keys, or
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even something more extreme, you know.
I mean, even my band has that struggle. You define
Yeah.
yourself by being a blues rock band.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, we've heard it. We've heard it before. It's 1970s. Well, yeah, but we're all, the average age is 30, so clearly we're not 68 or 70.
exactly.
No, that's
So
it.
Yeah.
it's our modern interpretation of that, you know, with its
Yeah.
own sort of twist. It's not going to be, it's not a copy and paste.
No.
Exactly. And it's,
So
that's how music, it rolls on. But it's just, I think we're so focused on putting people in brackets.
yes,
And we're very much not like that as
No.
people as well. We don't like to just stick to one thing and that be it.
No, we just want to be outputting the music that we feel truly passionate about and really believe in. That's
I think sometimes that shows in the
ultimately, you
music.
know.
Well,
Yeah.
it definitely shows the music, doesn't it? You know?
yeah. I think where you're at is what the
Yeah,
music
yeah.
you make.
and you got to keep it interesting and changing it up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because I think it's like for us, I think we could easily go away, write another fuzzed out garage tune. You know, we can write them quite easily, but I just think we're taking that big step now of really trying to challenge ourselves and look for different influences, changing up the sounds a bit, and because otherwise it just goes stale, doesn't it? And you just,
So it's a conscious decision to sound different.
I
rather
think
than-
so, yeah. But
Without forcing it.
yeah, I think so. We
Yeah.
still retain some of, like, you know, our kind of, I think, our core elements. But I think it is a conscious decision. I think I'm always a true believer of just, you got to try and push on. I mean, my absolute favourite band of all time is the Beatles, and I think they are one of the greatest examples, whether you like them or not, of how, you know, you can literally see a band progress,
Yeah.
coming from four lads singing around a microphone to then, you know,
Being so
producing some of the
experimental and-
the most timeless music that will go on and is put up to the likes of Beethoven, Mozart, that
Is
sort of thing, isn't it?
Do
You know,
think, because you mentioned a few moments ago about it as well, do you think that's probably because they've lent into the things that they found difficult as well?
I think so. Yeah, as a real challenge, and obviously, I think technology goes alongside that as well. So as you're getting more advances in technology, you're having the new things to try out and stuff. So I think that was obviously for them, like, obviously they could feed off of that, they had access to that, and I think for us is just trying to do the same thing really. It's,
Yeah.
you know, not limit ourselves by being closed-minded, being open-minded to it, and, you know, like I say, reaching for a drum machine or reaching for a synthesizer, or, you know, which before we would have gone, no, we're not going to go anywhere near that because we're a guitar band,
Yeah.
you know, which
Yeah.
is great. There's nothing wrong with that, but we just want to push a little bit
Yeah.
more, don't we, and
I
push
think-
ourselves.
I think the turning point of our little journey was our debut EP. We did something quite sizable in it. It was a 9-track EP, and it was basically, it was the band's story so far through the guise of a Western soundtrack. Completely different sonically to what we've done before. It sounds like, for those that haven't listened to it, sounds like the Red Dead soundtrack.
Right.
But it came about naturally through a love of bands like Hermanos Gutierrez.
Yeah.
And that Western feel is like something we absorbed, but it came naturally. It was like,
It wasn't forced. It was just.
you know, there was real emphasis behind it because it was our story. And it was like, how can we make this palatable and understandable to someone that doesn't understand us?
Yeah.
We're telling a story.
Were you quite careful about how you crafted that, even how it went from track to track?
Yeah, we sat there like constantly. We were just finding like,
Fine tuning.
is that, you know, there's instrumentals in there as well. I mean, there's even a whistling solo in there.
Yeah.
Um,
Courtesy of yourself.
And it
Alright.
took longer
to
than
record the whistle. than
any of my other vocals, and it was a challenge. But I think that whole experience of doing the EP really opened the door to just go something more here, lads.
But
Like,
it was even the type of songs we've got a lot on that EP. We've got a lot more, dare I say, ballad-esque songs,
yeah, completely.
as opposed to like the kind of upright rockers that we've been putting out as
Yeah.
singles. You know, so it was
Yeah.
quite nice to kind of occupy that space and real go into the songwriting craft.
Yeah.
and
Show the versatility a little bit more.
yeah, definitely. Like, it just keeps it exciting,
Show
doesn't it?
people
You know?
that, like, you know, we
There's
can,
a range.
Yeah.
we can do 2-minute little bangers, but here's a song that's our take on a soundtrack, you know.
Mm.
So how does your songwriting process work? Does it start with guitars, or does the lyrics come first? Or
It kind of varies, I think,
Swaps
doesn't
and
it?
changes, doesn't it?
Because some of our songs, like I've had a little guitar riff knocking about. I'll send a voice note over to Jamie, then he'll fire back in about 20 minutes some lyrics. Then we'll get together, demo it, take it to the other lads. Then they'll go, oh, maybe if we could, we could chop this bit here, or how about this little bass riff, or the drums it. And so it's a 4-way collaboration, really, But like I say, all the songs are very different. There's some songs me and Jamie have completely mapped out in a demo, and then we've just stuck to that.
Yeah.
But others, it'll be, I'll just take a riff to rehearsal, we bash it about 15 minutes, we've got a song. It just kind of really
sometimes
depends,
that just
doesn't it?
works,
What's the other two guys like with that?
They both contributing ideas all the time. So
Great
it's
songwriters in their own right as well.
so it's great. We've got 4
yeah.
songwriters in this band, really, haven't we? So
Yeah.
it's so we've got ideas coming. So we just end up building up a big catalogue of stuff, and then it's then having to sift through it and choose. Like when it comes to track listings and stuff, it gets really difficult. But it's a good position to be in, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
We're lucky from that respect, aren't we? But
and are your songs usually finished before you start recording them, or are you still tweaking them when you're recording them?
They're all pretty much done. We will do a demo where we'll map out like dynamic structure, always sorted,
Yeah.
and then at the time of recording we can suggest other little bits and pieces.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Mm.
instead of about 95% done
Right.
at the point.
And we'll sort of have
record.
a bash about with them in the rehearsal room, because then you kind of
Yeah.
really weed out the ones that are like, yeah, it's just not really working at the moment. We need to do something with that, or, oh yeah, this is working nice, just as a little 4-piece, but it's then scaling it up to that as being from just 4 guys playing in a room to it being a record. Then that's, but if you got the foundations there, I think. can go with it.
You're producing everything yourself? Is that right? Or-
Yes, I am. Yeah, so it's recorded at my studio. Play Loud Sound. If people out there want to check it out, get a little shameless plug in there.
Get the
But yeah, it's
plug
just
in there.
we got to the point with and I mean you'll know from your own experiences the cost of going into record.
Yeah.
And things like that. We just got to the point
It wasn't viable.
we were releasing 1 song a year, which
Yeah.
if you're trying to build momentum and a fan base, you just can't do it. So
It was just like we were working like just jobs in retail. It was just like everything we were putting into it. It was like the cost of like rehearse. We had a rehearsal room that we're contributing to, and it was just getting to a point where it's just like we can't afford to do this anymore. Getting priced out of doing something that you love, and we're like, something's got to give here.
Do you all put money into the band yourselves,
Yeah.
or do you do it from gigs? Do you do it from yourselves?
So it's so we have a pot we put
bit of
into
both in it, yeah.
every
And,
month, and then anything that we do earn is collectively put into it, and then we try and be self-sufficient as possible. So Ollie does production,
Yep.
Jack does his video content, Charlie does the mastering, and I do the press and PR.
All right, so you delegate between you
So
guys.
we share the
so-
roles really.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Because quite often it's one person in the band, isn't
It's
it?
like 90 odd
Yeah,
percent
no,
of
we-
bands are like that.
You just have someone at the
person.
helm and they do everything.
I think we're quite lucky with the people we've got in this band.
Yeah.
We're all on the same page,
Yeah.
all wanting to drive forward. So we've all
Mm.
got our jobs within the band that we kind of, almost our expertise, if you
Who's
like. you know.
the one that sort of is the last sort of word of like critique? Because there's like a bar, isn't there? Most bands
do you
never
know-
speak about it, but there's always a bar that you're all
do
trying to
do
meet.
you know what? I think, to be honest, being fair, I think
Yeah.
we are quite equal in that, because
Yeah.
even when it comes to the production process, so I'll do a mix, and then I'll stick it in our chat. We all have a listen to it, sit on it for a day, then everyone will come back with their bits of feedback, and then we can have a discussion, work it out together, and get to the point where all 4 of us are happy to sign it off. Because we have a rule
Yeah.
that if one of us doesn't want to do something in the band, we don't do it. It's got to be all 4
Can't go.
unanimous vote. Otherwise, you're always going to be pulling somebody
Yeah.
along who's not happy in a
Yeah.
situation, and then that's when the wheels fall off.
Which is
So-
it's difficult to get 4 people to.
Yes.
It's difficult getting 4 people all in one place at one time.
Yeah,
But
Trying to get
it's
4
like
people
herding
to-
cats.
to
That's it.
To
agree
agree.
on.
But it does work, and it
Yeah.
keeps us all together and all happy and enjoying it. Which at the end of the day, if you're not happy and you're not enjoying it, what is the point in
What's the
doing
point?
it? I think at the end of the day. So
Where do you get the this? Just it might sound like a deep question. It's really not. It's quite surface level. Where do you get the enjoyment from the band? Because I find most bands
Tough
have
question, that.
most bands find that in different areas? I know my own version, but I'm not being interviewed.
Go on, you go first. You
Yeah.
go first.
So for me, right, is going back to when I was a kid. So as a child, you just see music for what it is. You just like it. And then when you're like 14, 15, it happens to some people and other people it doesn't. I think something grips you as a changing point in your life. For me, I was on a bus going to London, and I was listening to the Beatles. And it was a day in the life, and it was the mad
Yeah, the crescendo at the end.
crescendo,
wasn't it?
yeah. And it was that, and it was like the world had come into Technicolor, and I was like, yes, right, music, I love it, but I don't know why. I don't know why I love it. I just do. And then I went to see Kasabian live when I was like 13, and that was a changing point. And I'd seen them, and they just smashed it. I was like, that's what I want to be. Whatever that is, being a band, that's what I want. That changed my life then. So, growing up and go to uni, like growing up a bit of an outsider, so I'm from Barrow in Furness. There's not a lot of people like me there. I was quite different to my friends, I'll admit, and they'll admit it as well. They say he's weird. Wears his hair different.
He's a little strange.
But he's just a little strange, yeah. Wears his hair differently. Wears weird clothes. Why are you wearing like dead people's clothes? Why are you listening
That's
to all
a
these
classic, that one, isn't it?
depressing bands? Like, why can't you just like normal things? Why have you got like the Jam and Paul Weller? You're 17.
Sounds like my whole existence
So-
at Wigan. 6'3", burly lad. Should be playing for Wigan Warriors. No, he wants to go and be a tree for 3 years at drama school.
Exactly. So you have all that, and you're like, right, got to get away. Because like when you're young, you're like, just got to get away. I don't belong. And it's like you're the only person in the world that's never belonged to anything. And you went to uni and discovered music and like-minded people. And you go from there, and then you just take it in stages, and it's like you do your first rehearsal, and you do you rehearse for ages, you write your first song, and it's a thing, and you're dead happy about it, and like you go and record your first song, or you do your first gig, and it means the world, and it'll always stick with you. It's like you put so much effort into the band that I'd say 90% of the time it doesn't go your way, but you know, that one time it does go your way, it's a feeling of euphoria.
Yeah.
I always had there's a moment in Little Stranger's history where, for such a long time in COVID, I didn't think this was coming back, and my ethos was, I'm never allowing this to slip through my fingers. Other members left, but I was like, no, we're just getting going. And there was a moment where we played Deaf Institute, the Lodge at the Deaf Institute was our first headline, if you will, was a 4-piece, and it meant a lot to me in particular. And it was just like the reaction was just yes. It was
Well,
electric in there.
That gig, we had somebody had travelled all the way from Norwich, I think
And
it was,
She was just singing the words back.
to travelled from Norwich to Manchester to come and watch us. And I've driven to Norwich several times from Manchester, and it's awful. It's an awful drive. So fair play to her. But that was a big moment for us, wasn't it? Because we could see this person singing the lyric. You know, like
Complete euphoria, and it's like the first time we played a single Hard Days, Hard Times. First time we ever played it live. Well, I'm going to do a new one. The reaction to it was just yes.
Electric,
Yeah.
was it?
We understand you. We get you. It's like pure love. And it was like the amount of gigs that we've played. Like the week before, in fact, we played a gig in Sheffield.
oh yeah.
An infamous gig in Sheffield where, I'll be honest, we played to 3 people. One barmaid,
We've all done it.
one barmaid, one sound guy, and one strange fella in a Mystic Wolf hoodie. Right, pitch black room, could not see at all, and we were gutted. We'd driven like an hour and a half, 2 hours to get there for that.
Yeah.
Like it was like, can I swear on this podcast?
Yep.
Pissing down
You
rain.
can't. Oh wait.
Off,
It's
hello,
too late now.
Ofcom. Hello, Ofcom. I've got a fly tipper here.
There we go. There we go.
We were absolutely gutted. We walked away. It was a day festival, Saturday afternoon. We were expecting a crowd. There was no crowd, and the one singular fella that was there just leant in after the gig and went, what football team do you support? And I was like, is it important? I sang my heart out for you. And he's like, not a Man United fan here. I was like, in my head I was like, yes, but you look like a nutter. You're wearing a Mystic Wolf hoodie. So no. Nah. Don't even like football. How about that? All right, good, because I don't like Man United fans. All right. Yes, Mr.
Sounds like someone came out the door and chose violence. That
Yeah,
day.
no, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mystic Wolf. He shall now be known as Shadow Wolf. So yeah, long-winded point again, but just it's the love of it boils down to when it clicks, and there's there's a feeling on stage, and you know it because you've got your own band as well. You look round sometimes in rehearsal when everything clicks.
Yeah.
It might be a new idea or it's just energy, and it can't be. If you could bottle it up and sell it, you would.
Oh fuck yeah. Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing quite like it. Just four guys completely connected in a room, or whoever, just people playing together in a room. When you land that idea and it all sits together, there's, regardless of recording, stage, playing in front of people, anything like that. Just when that moment lands, everyone in bands will tell you that. Like, it's you can't beat it, can you? You just can't beat it.
Just when it hits, it hits, and it's like. I always think back to when I was a young lad, though. I think watching Kasabian that night, total euphoria in the crowd. I was looking round at the crowd. They're going mental. And I was thinking, like, what must they feel like?
Yeah.
How can I get that? So it's you're doing it for the little lad inside of you. You're doing it for him. That's what kicks you on, because you're like, so much more here.
Yeah.
Is that a deep enough answer for you?
Deeper than I was expecting.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm doing it for all the fly tippers out there, young and old. 'Cause it's never too late.
So, going back to your live performances, has that been your favourite so far? The Deaf Institute? Or?
It stands out.
That's one at that Deaf Institute Lodge. I think it's one of our favourites, isn't it? We always like playing there. It's a good
Yeah.
sound in there as well. Like, and we've had some good soundies there in the past as well, haven't we? So yeah, really good. But yeah, I just think live performance, we get a massive buzz off of it. It's just always great to have that people in front of you getting that instant feedback. Of when especially trying out new songs. Sometimes it doesn't quite land, and people you can kind of get from the sort of reaction like, oh yeah, maybe that one needs a bit more work, or then you play that new one, like you said, Hard Days, Hard Times, and we played that for the first time, it landed, and the reaction we got was euphoric, and we were like, right, okay, I think we must be onto something here. So I think that's just kind of, I always love that instant feedback, and more you kind of throw yourself into it, the energy we give off stage, and that you get that straight back from people, and people really enjoy that and feed off of it. And I think ultimately, for me, the one thing I always try to remember with music is, when you could go back in history, music was there for entertainment and for people's joy and happiness, and I think that needs to be remembered. I think by a lot of that's what music's there for. It's for people's entertainment. Whether you're playing happy music, sad music, whatever, it's there for people to connect in a room and forget everything else that's going on outside, just as entertainment, isn't it?
Supposed to make you feel something.
Yeah, that is it.
The
That's
age-old people used to sit around a campfire and tell stories, and they used to play music.
And
together.
that's the tradition, isn't it? But now it's just scaled up to something different now. But I think at the heart of it is that's what you got to remember. It is,
Or it makes you feel.
yeah. You're playing for the audience, aren't you? You're not playing for yourself. So it's.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's how you
sell
should've been
tickets
fighting.
anyway.
I just want to take a step back before we talk about the roles within the band. Your artwork, is that a specific person, or do you all come up with that? 'Cause it's quite striking, your artwork, isn't it? It's
Yeah, so that's my partner Ellie. She does all our artwork. She's a professional graphic designer, and she does our artwork for us. But that's a collaborative process as well. We, gather a lot of influences, and we sit down with her, and then she'll produce the artworort based off of kind of the what we're sort of looking for, And
go off mood boards, aesthetics,
Pinterest.
So it's a lot of me
and stuff.
like looking for rogue images, of
Don't say it.
speeding.
Oh,
Hey, I know where you were going there.
Someone's jumping ahead.
Hey.
Yeah.
You've come here
But-
today.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
she does. No, she's kind of almost like another arm to the band, really,
Right,
isn't she?
definitely.
She's kind of, you know, she really like loves the music, is involved with all of us, and you know, we're all great mates at the end of the day, and it's just, you know, she just gets it, and what she brings back to us with always knocks us out of the park, really, doesn't it? So you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. There's a big emphasis on the aesthetics of
Yeah,
of
you can
the
definitely
artwork.
tell that. Within
Because to me it's about standing out. So just to go back to Hard Days, Hard Times, for example, I found the image of the speeding Mustang, royalty free, my ad. Just get that in there. I found it fly tipping. Sorry, lads. I will stop. But it's just about standing out because there's so many. You know, as a band, there's so much music being released on a daily basis, and you see the artwork, and you're like, wow.
yeah, you
Yeah,
want
it's a big
something
part of it.
striking.
It almost looks AI sometimes from other bands that you're like, wow, okay.
Do ideas just randomly come to you for stuff like that? Or do you want it to be, how am I trying to word this? Maybe literal, you know, because some songs could be like, you know, oh, let's go down the literal sense. Or do you want it to be a bit more ambiguous?
I think it's about establishing a mood
Okay.
within the music, as we were saying before. Like, music often is about escapism, or people want to find belonging or meaning within the music. And I think certain songs evoke imagery. That's why we love soundtracks so much. So in the case of Hard Days, Hard Times, it was so much aggression in that song. It was so just, it almost had you by the scruff of the neck. It was like, this feels like you put this on and wheel spin in a Ford Mustang,
awesome.
whatever, yeah. You
But
know.
that's what I mean. That's what we kind of go to Ellie with, something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and then
And
she
Yeah.
can then
produce-
using her skills and talent,
Yeah.
she can just turn that into the image that represents that pretty much, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
we're off to the races. Then
And it's so
So-
interesting how people form. So like we have a few songs that are the complete antithesis of like the artwork
Yeah.
is what the way
Yeah.
the song is, and now hearing you guys say about that, I've never really noticed it as much. It's just always been like, for us, it's always been like, oh, that just feels right.
Yeah, I
Which
thi- I
is so
think
interesting.
we've used colours in the past as well. Colours are a big
Yeah, you were saying
barometer
that the other week,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
mood as well. So like we have a couple of singles where it's just you just be text based, but there's like certain colours are used. But to us, that made sense to use those colours,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
even though.
but it's like you say, sometimes it just feels right. So
Yeah.
you go like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it, because I don't know why it just feels right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I know.
We've done
Contrast. Just like, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes I've found when we've done stuff, probably one of our better ones is the more recent one, not the EP that we've done, but the single
Mm.
Set Me Free.
Yeah.
Where the artwork, we did it ourselves. We drove down to Southport, took a real picture,
Yeah.
put up some lighting that was the opposite. We had one shining on a face that was one colour, and then background was a different colour.
Mm.
And then we've just mangled with it a little
Mm.
bit, put some nice fontage over it, and it already felt like it was there.
Yeah,
to the song. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but other ones we've done in the past, you go, oh my god, this is so hard.
yeah,
But it's what feels right, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's,
that's it.
most of the time it's the thing that probably is right in front of you, really.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
For anyone who's listening, we've got Double Yellows practicing on one side, and we've got Casino Club on the other side. On the usually quiet night.
So we're gonna get really, really close to the microphone.
Yeah,
now.
so we'll.
Fly tipping.
Apologies, that's all you can hear. Well, check out our reel of Double Yellows. That's awesome.
Oh, what are you saying there?
I just said fly tip, but I'm really
Oh, for God's sake!
into the mic. I'm not conscious.
ASMR, yeah.
Oh, do you feel about refuse?
Someone take his mic off
Would
him.
you guys consider using AI for anything? Or?
No.
No.
Unless
definitely.
it's
No,
to
I didn't
replace
think so.
me.
Absolutely fucking not. Oh,
It's
God.
just a huge thing, though.
I just think it's right. I mean, I'm not going to go on my soapbox, but I am. It's about expression, isn't it? It's about
Yeah.
it's a human feeling to be able to express, and that's based off a life. I'm 35.
Yeah.
I've got 35 years of expression to be able to put into something.
Yeah.
And AI's got amalgamated,
Yeah.
generated
Yeah.
data that it thinks, but it's got no soul. It doesn't know. So it's going to just conjure up something that it's just got from data.
Yeah,
Not from
Not
feel.
real. It's not really doesn't have emotion. So as long as people bear that in mind, it can't
lazy.
replace art. This is the thing that winds me up. Like people use it for like copywriting or art, like graphics, and it's like it might be a handy tool, but it shouldn't replace actual people that are doing
The
this.
emotion, I suppose.
And I think eventually it's going to have a detriment to, you know, because there's a lot of, like, obviously a lot of the different industries now, businesses are not wanting to have people like graphic designers or people like that. They just want to do it like that. But I think using AI, but I think eventually it's just going to have a detriment to, because everything's
going to look the same, isn't it?
Yeah,
It'll-
exactly.
It's cyclical.
You know?
It'll all come back around. They'll get rid of people, and then they'll realise they've done it now with all the fucking plastic stuff. We should never have gone away from glass. We've had plastic for too long.
Yeah.
Now everyone's going back to fucking glass.
That's it. It
Just
all comes round, doesn't it?
Shut
I
down
don't know where I went with
industries.
that. Probably I was in a skip. Like,
Yeah. Loads
But-
of glasswork in the skips, my friend.
Yeah.
Never went away.
it bothers me. I mean, was it The Brutalist, the film that came out a few months ago that got
Yeah.
the Oscar win? It's one of the first films that's won an Oscar. I think
Yeah.
it is the first film to win an Oscar with AI use inside it.
All right.
Oh,
didn't
really?
know that.
But I'm not sure of what area it's been used.
Right.
Because I think it's like, because if you go back and look at like the newest Beatles song, you know, I think they've
Well, that's
used,
another
because
one,
they've used AI,
Yeah.
but they've used it in a restoring process, as opposed to like they're using it to create
A
musical
production
parts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
process.
like, so I think when you're sort of using it like that, but then again, that's a whole debate on, you know, what was the point of them really releasing that song? You know, even as a Beatles fan, I'm a bit like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just
We
a bit
didn't
of a
need
funny
it.
one.
Well, what makes
Yeah.
the world turn? That's literally it.
Well,
Someone needs the royalties.
exactly.
Someone needs
But it was one of them. Was it done as a financial gain?
Oh
Yeah.
I
Is
mean,
it tinged with that?
well, listen,
maybe?
I'm a 6'3" lad from Wigan, but I'm pretty sure it is. You know, I've not got much brains, but I'm pretty sure it's been made for a bit of financial gain.
I know
It's
it
had
when I
to
see
be
it.
5'5" and from Barrow and feeling the exact same.
But I think if you're using it as a tool to like help with tasks like that, you know, cleaning up audio so it can be used in a song, but I don't think it should be used to be generating musical parts.
No,
is
absolutely
my
not.
opinion.
I
So-
commented on something. You reminded me now. There was something on TikTok where it was like, you can write a song for your nan just using these random words, and it'll make a song for you. And I commented saying it was such a proper dad comment, and I don't have any kids. I'm
you know
aware
of.
of anyway. And I commented on it saying like, just let the artist do it. This is ridiculous, taking artistry away from the people that can make music. So,
But no, you're right. You're right though.
Proper
It's,
dad about
it's
it.
not.
Yeah,
no,
as
it's
long as
not.
it's not being used to replace actual people. It's being used as a
Yeah,
tool.
a tool
Mm.
rather than.
It's there to
Yeah.
assist, not
Yeah.
replace, surely.
So, going to some fun questions now. What's the dream festival that Little Strange would love to play?
Ooh.
Or venue? What would be the
Ooh.
top?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I think.
that's a good question.
You'll have to give us 5 minutes to think on that one. No.
Where's the dream place you'd like to fly to?
Easy.
I have to say that compound out there is a fabulous fly tipping location.
okay, now.
There's a few CCTV cameras though.
Do you know, I've actually
All the more
I'm-
risk,
why
the
you
more
thinking?
enjoyment, my friend.
More risk.
I've seen a festival I'd love to play in the UK that I didn't know existed until I did a bit of
Yeah.
a bit of a search. Is
Mm.
the Long Road?
Yeah, yeah, we've heard of
I've
Long
not heard
Road,
of
yeah.
the road.
I-
Yeah. Sure,
I'm a
I'll
fan of
show you the
uh,
name.
I really like Green Man Festival in Wales.
All right. Yeah.
I think
It's
to
in
be
the
fair, that would
Welsh
be a really
valleys.
good one to.
That is,
If we could get on it, it'd be a
Yeah,
great one, wouldn't
I
it? Like,
think I'm very lucky to have played at a festival in my hometown, in Barrow Furnace Course Roads Festival. That was something for
Yeah.
myself. I've always loved. The first festival I ever went to was Kendal Calling, which is local-ish to where I'm from. That would be great. But and then obviously Glastonbury's
Yeah, we get
a
Glastonbury
dream
a lot.
for many.
Yeah.
it seems like the one, doesn't it? So
I think like as a venue wise, I think one of the places I'd love to play is like Alexandra Palace or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I really love
what a
those
venue.
like those like almost like old theatre looking buildings.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really love that. Great place for a band to play, and I just all of it, the aesthetics, everything marries up.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you know, so I think somewhere like that for me would be a real like. You know, I'm not necessarily bothered about like. I mean, yeah, we'd all love to play a stadium, hit a big power chord in a stadium
Yeah.
with Marshall stacks
Yeah.
behind
Yeah.
you. But I think for me, playing a cool venue like that's got a real vibe about it, I think would be a dream for me. I think, yeah.
Manchester Apollo would be cool.
I just realised I got my festival wrong. So sorry, the long road. You won't accept the application anyway, so it's fine. It was actually Red. It was a Red Rooster. I'm
Red
just being
Rooster.
honest.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I've got an
yeah.
EPK. It took me a long time, but you're not going to read it. So. Yeah, Red Rooster.
Yes.
Heard of Red Rooster?
Mm.
Yes,
Nope.
we have.
That looks insane. Red Rooster Festival.
Where's
Look at this. Good question. Where is it? Suffolk.
So that was where Robert
Wow,
Finley
yeah.
played and stuff.
Right at the
wasn't
side
it?
of a huge lake.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
It's very very country.
Mm.
It's very civilized.
There's a lot of the artists we really like have played
It's
at
not
that
civilised in
festival.
Wigan, so I'm trying to get somewhere where it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of the artists that we're into, like yourself, Americana Blues, they tend to play that festival.
Yeah.
I think the Nude Party played there last year. Robert Finley,
Yeah.
McKinley James, that we supported in
I'll tell you,
Chester.
just while it's come to me, we played just as a little offshoot. We played a really nice place in Chester, didn't we?
Church.
Last year, yes, St Mary's Creative Space.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we supported, was it McKinley James
McKinley
there, wasn't
James,
it?
yeah.
And it was like a converted church being converted into a venue. It was unbelievable.
The sound
Acoustics
really
in there.
good, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just, it was great.
Yeah.
Just beautiful stained glass windows, and yeah, fantastic.
That
But
was
we
a great
do have
night,
a
wasn't it?
song where the lyrics are, "It's all right, there's no God in my life," and I had to apologise before playing it. Just I thought,
You could have just reversed it.
no, I was a bit like
Reverse it, there's no dog in my
Uno reverse, Uno reverse. Like, ha, ha.
That would have been right good switch up back pocket. You know, reverse it, there's no dog in my life.
They were selling cans in there anyway, so I thought, well,
Sounds like my kind of church.
no, you might have been in there.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a real nice look. We really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
gig.
Neo-Catholicism.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Started my own religion that night.
yeah.
If you could only
Like,
listen to
take
one
the
album,
No.
if you could only listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Wow.
I mean, for me, I think it would be Revolver by the Beatles. That's
Yeah.
my all-time. That's my all-time favourite album. So that's my pick. What do you reckon,
That
JT?
is a very, very, very good question.
JT's a
Are you going to
massive.
pick something different this
I'm
week,
gonna
sir?
pick something
Every week.
Well, you're a massive vinyl lover, aren't you? An album
Yeah,
collector. So
I've
that's
I've
yeah.
got a lot of albums to get through in my head. It's one that I'm not going to get sick of. See, it's one of them, innit, when you...
I think that's it with the Beatles album, though. There's a lot of variation, isn't there, on one
yeah,
album?
and for me, that '66 period is my favourite Beatles
Yeah,
period.
that's
That
the
or the
one.
White Album would be my second choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Just trying to think what album stuck with me forever, really. Because as I go
Yeah.
through cycles where
Yeah.
I really gorge on an album for, a
Yeah.
year or 6 months. An album that's always stood out to me is, since I was a kid, and I still love it now, is the Last Shadow Puppets, The Age of the Understable.
All right.
The one that sounds like Scott Walker. Because it doesn't matter how old I am, I still appreciate it.
Right.
So I think that's aged really well. And I could definitely listen to that for a long time. But if you asked me again tomorrow, I'd probably change the
Well,
album,
that's
so,
music for you, isn't it?
yeah.
that's it.
Mine
Yeah.
changes all the time.
Yeah.
I've just been sieving through mine and I'm struggling.
Yeah.
The first one that came to my head from my albums list that I looked at was Riser Riser from Rammstein.
Nice.
I'm really surprised.
Yeah. Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what can I say?
It was Pink Floyd last time.
I think last time it was Biffy Clyro.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. I was going to go from some sort of obscure one, then I thought,
Yeah.
twat. So
Yeah. 70s, like Gilbert O'Sullivan back to front.
Yeah.
Like
like
yeah.
soundtrack of like 25-minute songs and stuff like that, you know.
If you could have one guest on one of your songs, one guest artist, who would it be?
Dan Auerbach.
Dan Auerbach,
Dan Auerbach.
yeah,
All right.
unanimously, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
he's a
love it.
big hero of ours.
Right.
Yeah.
From obviously the Black Keys and
Yeah.
then from his own label of Easy Eye. It's been, I
Yeah.
know for me particularly, it's been a big inspiration on me, and
Love it.
really
Yeah.
he kind of inspired me to take that step of well, us to take that step of self-production, really. So it's it means quite a bit to us, and he's a
Yeah.
big
And
inspiration.
Easy Eye, the
Yeah.
label. If you've not checked out any of their stuff, based in Nashville, everything.
It's
on
such
that
a
label.
wide variety of genres, though. You'd think it'd just be like blues rock stuff or like
No.
Black Keys stuff, but there's such a wide
It's
variety
really
of
not.
stuff on there. It's well worth checking out. Right from like root style music to like
Well, John Muck is like
Yeah.
Nigerian. I wouldn't even know what the genre is.
yeah. And then right through, you've got one of our favourites is Hermanos Gutierrez. If you haven't
Mm.
checked them out before, two brothers, and the music they play sounds like a Western soundtrack. With elements of like salsa music in there and stuff, so it's that but it's a beautiful instrumental, just two guys playing guitars, and yeah, well worth checking out their records. Hermanos Gutierrez, we've seen them live together, and they're
yeah, it was like a
absolutely phenomenal, like well worth checking out if you don't know them.
complete vibe.
That was big influence on the EP, that as well, wasn't
Yeah,
it, with the guitar
completely.
tones and things
Yeah,
like.
just
But
It's like lights were on for
Mm.
us. We're like, yes. Yeah.
so yeah.
If you got to play one of these big venues, what would your walk on song be to get you fired up?
So my pick would be Ecstasy of Gold, Ennio Morricone.
Interesting.
So that's what I'd. What's your pick?
It's, we had funnily enough, the first ever gig that I did, we had a walk-on song, which is hilarious, thinking back to it, because it was just at the Eagle. So why would you have a walk-on song?
Well, that's the thing. You got to walk through the audience,
I
haven't
know,
you, to
yeah,
get to the
it
stage?
it was so funny. It was like, try to get past, and people are like, I'm not fucking moving. They're like, they're the band. You're like, oh, sorry,
excuse me,
sorry,
mate, excuse me.
sorry. I was like,
Oh, sorry.
sorry. Oh, got a roll deck on. I'm sorry. Yeah, so Dwayne Eddy stalking just
Oh,
to
absolute
create
monster
an
track.
atmosphere, even though it's dead chill, because I just think setting the tone for what's about to come.
What about you, Seb?
Walk-on song.
What about you, Liv?
Walk-on song. I feel like mine would probably end up being something like. I think I've said this before. Maybe like Lagrange or something like that.
All right, yeah,
Mm.
good tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like maybe Lagrange. Maybe you could go complete opposite. Maybe go Sarah from Thin Lizzy. Incredibly chill. Just walk on with a bit of a
Yeah,
click.
I think
yeah.
I go to Cypress Hill. I think.
Cypress Hill.
How I could just kill a man. I think. Yeah. What about you, Liv?
Superman from Eminem. You know,
Yeah.
just mix it up.
Yeah.
Change it every night. Why not?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Nothing from Liv. No. Yeah, it's moody. That's typical for your band, that isn't it?
On brand.
Have you got a current song that's on repeat?
Let me consult Spotify.
Yeah.
I actually know this because I knew this was going to come up, so I vetted mine today. Because I keep thinking I'm just listening to one song all the time.
Sure,
It's actually three.
One tune I'm listening to a lot of country music at the moment. It's a tune called Amos Moses by Jerry Reed.
Oh,
And
okay.
absolute killer, like chicken picked guitar riff, and I've just been listening to that. Is that or Eastbound and Down by him as well? Great little country tunes, kind of like country standard, that one. But yeah, I've been just really trying to, like I say, listen to other things and that. But yeah, that's my kind of song I've got on repeat.
Mine is I've got two. It's Psycho by Black Honey, which is their latest single, and Relationships by Haim. which is their new
Oh, it's a
single.
great
Oh, I
tune,
love
that
that.
one. That's really good.
Great,
Yeah,
aren't they?
nice.
Yeah,
I forgot
That's
mine.
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're
I
Their
thought,
tune-
I thought I remembered it, but
Their
I've-
tunes,
I've
is it
not.
Steps
Oh,
as
there
well?
it
That
is.
one's really
Steps is
cool.
great.
That's a great. The
And
guitars
just-
on that are so good.
Summer Girl,
Yeah.
big banger.
Summer Girl.
Maybe I'd walk onto that. Maybe I'd change my walk on song to Summer Girl by Haim.
Mine's Strange Rain by Patrick Watson. I'm a big Patrick Watson fan. I only
Cool.
discovered him about 6-7 months ago.
I'm unfamiliar with Patrick Watson.
He's a It's like a French Canadian pianist. He does like a lot of composing stuff. Worked on films and TV
Right.
shows. And then I came across another artist called Hani Arani, which is a Polish sort of composer. It's very like moody,
Yeah.
atmospheric sort of stuff that you get in the background of like a thriller or a drama in a film.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And it's just led me on. It's gone down a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And like another guy called Nils Brahm, who's like 25-minute songs, and they're all just like proper moody.
Yeah.
Instrumental.
All instrumental, yeah. Apart from, there's a few Patrick Watsons are not. They're all like they're all singing and stuff. But Strange Rain's nice. It's very Vangelis sort of heavy.
Right.
It's got a lot of like gorgeous sort of electric style keys that are
Cool.
very moody.
Nice.
It's lovely. You should check them out.
And last question: mystery meat milkshake or a meat feast pizza with a toothpaste base?
Probably the pizza, I think.
Yeah, at least
I-
you know what you're getting, I
yeah.
suppose, isn't it? But
It's textures for me that are going to be the issue here. Like, I can't have a meat-based milkshake.
Same here.
Just, even walking
Do
in.
you know what? I'm gonna finesse the system though. Think about it. It's a milkshake. You don't have to. You can just put it in a pan and fry it. Turn it
Oh,
into a meat
that's
ball.
cheating.
it's thinking outside the
I don't know if
box
that's
here.
been
Come on.
A omelette.
Yeah.
Wait, that sounds dodgy. Actually.
Yeah, but,
Omelette.
it's mystery meat, though, man.
It's
So-
mystery
It's
meat.
Mystery meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we know what that means.
Do we?
Do we?
Billy Bear ham. Could be out, couldn't it? Like someone's toe.
Yeah.
I think a fluoride based would. You'd get through
Well,
it.
you're getting a bit of dental benefit from that, aren't you? I suppose so. For your health
Ground
conscious
beef.
people out there, yeah.
Just if you close your
Pepperoni.
eyes, it's like it's got mint on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was spinach. My bad.
Best,
You know what I mean?
best of a bad bunch. So.
Well, on that note, we'd like to thank you for coming down.
Thanks so much for having us on.
And if you need any fly tipping doing,
Fuck's sake.
Don't
I
ask
love how
us.
Easy,
this,
man.
I love how this became a thing. It's like a throwaway comment. Yeah,
It was
Blaming you
mentioned
for that.
9 times.
and the rest.
And the
But
rest.
happy fly tipping, eh?
go check out Little Strange on Spotify. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.